Hey, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? I'm doing well, sitting down with my evening buffalo sweat. I want to ask the question tonight, is it time to take up arms? And I'll be interested to hear what you all have to say. I'm going to read an article and then throw out the questions there. But first, before I get started, I want to thank a couple of subscribers. I went past the other day, the post office to ship off a bunch of books and then pick up a bunch of more orders there. And waiting for me was a couple of things. One kind of a thick envelope and one a box that said "Open carefully." When I got home, I opened the envelope to find a shoulder patch of a major police department. I'll just say police department because I will say law enforcement department. Some of you might remember on the other channel that somebody sent me a patch. It's a thing in the law enforcement world to trade department patches, and somebody sent me a patch, and I thanked them, and I said, anybody else that would like to send me a patch, I'd love to have them, and if I get enough, I'll mount them on a board behind me when I get my new digs ready. And so he specifically asked me not to mention him by name, department, or anything like that, but you know who you are. Thank you very much. It means a lot, as you well know. Then I got down to open up this box. It said "Open carefully." I open all boxes carefully, just in case they're ticking or smoking or something like that. So I gingerly, going back to my bomb and arson days. No, I was never on the bomb and arson unit, but I went through the training. So very gingerly, with my knife, I slid open the tape and opened it up to find just a beautiful quilt that this person had sent me. The person, I won't identify them because I'm not sure that they would want me to, but they are a subscriber, and they are another channel. And they are an excellent channel, and I think they are one of the smartest channels out there. A real thinker. A channel that I enjoy watching. So I'm not going to, but I opened that up and I couldn't believe it. And I called the family around, and Kelly and the kids all looked at it and oohed and ahed, and it's just beautiful. And a very nice note in it said that it had been made, this person had made it about 4 years ago. Didn't know who to give it to, and finally just realized that they wanted to send it to me and my family. And I wanna let you know how much I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's going to be in my family room. It will undoubtedly be draped over somebody's lap as the days get cooler in the fall, and I just can't thank you enough. Well, how meaningful that is. I talk about having the smartest commenters in YouTube land, and I hold to that bar none. But I think I've got the nicest ones too. I may not have the most, but I've got the smartest and the nicest. So you all, thank you so much, and you too especially. I'm going to read something here. So the question for tonight is it time to take up arms? Now, rather than keep you hanging on this, I'm going to give you my answer, and that answer is an unequivocal no. It is not. So this isn't, I'm not trying to drum up this idea, it's time to go. Although I know that we get a lot of, as I occasionally bounce in and out of YouTube land, I hear people talking like that. I don't believe that it is. I don't believe that it's near that time, and I know that some people get upset at me about that. Not so much here on this channel, but it is not, in my opinion, and I think that kind of talk is counterproductive in that those people are totally skipping over the fight that we should be in right now, which is a political fight. But I want to read this, and what I want your opinion at the end of this, not on whether it's time to go to arms, because I'm putting that right. Please don't anybody say that, because that's going over the line. Steve, you're not a patriot if you don't think that we can. Yeah, I am, and don't do it, because it's not productive, and I want this channel to be productive. This is for thinkers. This article comes up, and this surprised me, so I'm going to read this article, most of it, not all. It's not a very long article. And I see that you're going to see the glare of the computer off of me while I hold this up. I got to hold it kind of like this so that my bifocals hit it just right. This is out of the Guardian. Now, you know the Guardian, you can think what if you want of that, but it's a study out of the University of Chicago, and you can also think what you want to about the University of Chicago. But the internals of this poll, or this questionnaire, are what's interesting, and that's what I want to throw out for your opinion. The head is, a quarter of Americans are open to taking up arms against the government, poll says. Okay. Then the subhead is, survey of 1,000 registered U.S. voters also reveals that most Americans agree government is corrupt and rigged. Well, I don't think we're going to find much argument with that, are we? Here's the article. More than 1/4 of U.S. residents feel so estranged from their government that they feel it might, quote, soon be necessary to take up arms against it, a poll released on Thursday claimed. This survey of 1,000 registered U.S. voters, published by the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics, also revealed that most Americans agree the government is corrupt and rigged against everyday people like me. The data suggests that extreme polarization in U.S. politics and its impact on American relationships with each other remains strong. These statistics came as a congressional committee is holding public hearings on the January 6th situation. That's not the word they use, that's the word I will use. And then I'm going to skip one paragraph here because it's just lunacy. It is editorial lunacy. Wrapped in pseudo-news. Now we're going to get back to the study. The survey indicates that distrust in government varies among party lines. We would assume that, right? While 56% of participants said they would, quote, generally trust elections to be conducted fairly and counted accurately, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents were dramatically split on this point. We know that. Nearly 80% of Democrats voiced overall trust in elections. Interestingly, that it wasn't quite that number on previous elections, right? But that number dipped to 51% among independents and a mere 33% of Republicans. Well, that's a disparity that we have known about. Now we're getting to the meat of this. Per the poll, 49% of Americans concurred that there were more and more feel like a stranger in my own country. Again, this number reflected sharp political divisions. The sentiment was held by 69% of self-described strong Republicans, 65% of self-described very conservative persons, and 38% of strong Democrats. Interesting. Of the 28% of voters who felt it might soon be necessary to, quote, take up arms against the government, end quote, 37% had guns in their homes, according to the data. Now that's interesting, but that's kind of, you know, so of all these people who say, yeah, it's time to take up arms, right? Only 37%, a little over a third of them had a gun in the house. You know, that kind of reflects what we, you know, hear a lot. All the ones who were mouthing off, yeah, it's time to go. So only 37% had guns in their homes. Interesting. What do you think about that? That'd be interesting. 1/3 of Republicans, including 45% of strong Republicans, hold this belief about taking up arms. 35% of independent voters and 20% of Democrats also agreed, the poll said. Interesting. 20% of Democrats. Meanwhile, those polled voiced negative sentiments about persons from opposing political parties. Surprise. 73% of self-described Republican voters agreed that, quote, Democrats are generally bullies who want to impose their political beliefs on those who disagree, and An almost identical percentage of Democrats, 74%, expressed that view of Republicans. While we've documented for years the partisan polarization in the country, these poll results are perhaps the starkest evidence of the deep divisions in partisan attitudes rippling through the country, said the Republican pollster Neil Newhouse, who conducted the survey in May with Democrat pollster Joel Benenson. The survey also stated that almost half of respondents expressed averting political talk with other people because I don't know where they stand. 1/4 described losing friends, and a similar proportion claimed to have avoided relatives and friends due to politics, per the survey. Okay, well, I don't know that any of that really is a surprise to us. I guess I was surprised at the number, at the percentage of people who would answer that about taking up arms, especially those from the left. Maybe I shouldn't be. So you all can kind of clue me in on that. But my question, what I want to ask is, and here again, I do not believe that it's time. But what does this say? What does this mean? How is this going to manifest itself? Just more talk? Increasing violence? I know that all of you probably you had experiences that you could probably have guessed at that poll yourself. Excuse me, just a second. Still dealing with the scratchy throat, so I'm just doing this medicinally for your all's benefit. But if people hold those views, and we have become so diametrically opposed, one side with the other. Interestingly enough, I watched part of it. I didn't have more time to watch the whole thing, but it was part of Dinesh D'Souza's podcast today. What did he call it? The diversion might have been. I'm not sure. The diversion. It was about the splitting of the country. We've talked about that. It's easy to talk about, extremely difficult to implement, even difficult to try to explain or express or figure out how it could be done. Very, very difficult. And then, how is it done peacefully? If it can be done peacefully, and I have my doubts about that. It was an attempt was made to do it peacefully back in the 1860s, and it wasn't allowed to happen. So what do you all think? That's my question here. And the reason that I ask this, rather than just trying to give it an opinion, because my opinion is, oh man, this it's impossible to know, it's impossible to say. But I also know how smart you all are. And one of the best things about making videos, especially on this channel, is the quality of the responses, the quality of the comments. And some of you have apologized for leaving long comments. Don't apologize. Okay, I don't care. I don't require brief little comments, because real thoughts sometimes they require some length to express, and you all show the quality whenever you do that. So go ahead and do that. What do you think? What do you think? Is this a surprise to you? Is it not? Whatever. I'll post this. I've already posted it over on Patreon for those of you who are on Patreon. And if you're not with us and you would like to support the channel, I put the link down below, or right above, where the link to where you can get my books if you would like. So let me know what you think. I'll be interested to read in those comments. For anybody who's new here, all we request and require, courtesy and politeness and thoughtfulness, and not calling anybody any names and things like that. And if you have a position, whether it's agreeing or not agreeing, just back it up. Let us know why you think that. And like we always say here, America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. So this is a way that you can be a part of perhaps influencing other people who might read your comments. So I'm going to get out of here so I can get this up so I can start reading your comments. You all have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.